Welcome all to the Social Studies News Network. I'm your host, Ms. Matho. Today's news segment is called Global Interactions. For those of you new to Global Interaction segment, we will be traveling across the globe to interview what it's like to live in different parts of the world. I am inclined to ask you to title your notes for today, Impact of Geography in European Countries. Create a three-circled Venn diagram on the next page in your social studies notebook and label each circle a country. Germany, Russia, and the United Kingdom. Today, we will be meeting Miss London Fogg, Miss Gertrude Heim, and Miss Yusta B. Soviet Union. To make note-taking easier, our editing committee prides themselves on putting keywords and terms at the bottom of the video screen. Be sure to record any important terms that occur in the bottom of the video screen in the proper section of your Venn diagram. If it is a unique fact about a country, it goes in the large part of the circle. If it is a similarity between two countries, it goes in the center part of those two circles. If it is a similarity between all three countries, then it would go in the center. For example, all three countries are located in Europe. This is a similarity, so this fact goes in the center of all the circles. Let's meet Miss London Fogg. Miss London Fogg, tell us about your location.
Well, hello there, Miss Matho. It's so nice to meet you. I am currently located in London, which is part of England, which is also on the island of Great Britain, inside the United Kingdom. I am just enjoying some afternoon tea on the Thames River. The United Kingdom is an island country located in the Atlantic Ocean. The United Kingdom is also off of the north-east coast of mainland Europe. The UK only bought this island, but we can easily take the channel to mainland Europe, which makes us feel connected to the rest of Europeans. Most people in the United Kingdom live in major cities. In fact, our country is very densely populated. The size of it is very, very small. So, in comparison with the population and the size, our country, we live very, very close together. As for our climate, well, let me tell you, the North Atlantic Drift, or known as the Gulf Stream, warms the waters around the United Kingdom, creating a marine west coast climate that is very, very temperate. It rains a lot in the United Kingdom, hence my umbrella you see here. The United Kingdom's latitude is very close to Canada and Russia. One would think that it would be very cold in London or United Kingdom. However, it is much, much warmer there and we receive so much rain. The marine west coast climate also allows our ports to be open all year around, and that helps us tremendously with trade. Our trading ports are very important to our economy. Well, I'm off to Heathrow, which is one of the most busiest and largest airports in the world. Cheerio, friend!
Let's hear from our next guest, Miss Gertrude Heim.
Guten Tag, and thank you for that wonderful introduction into the United Kingdom. Well, my name is Gertrude Heim, and I live in Berlin, which is the capital of Deutschland. Deutschland is what we Germans call Germany. Germany is located in Northern Europe on the North European plains. Sorry for my accent. In Germany, we have the Alps in the south, we have the Rhine and the Danube rivers that start in the Alps, and we also have the North European plains. That provides lots of farmland for us Germans. We also have the North Sea. The Rhine, The Danube and the North Sea help us tremendously with trade. Trade is very important to us Germans. Industry is very, very important to us, along with agriculture and services. Our climate is much like what Miss London Fog explained in the United Kingdom. In Western Germany, we have a very temperate climate, but in Eastern Germany, it is very much colder. Eastern Germany has a much harsher climate because the winds from the Gulf Stream do not reach that part of our country. So it is much harsher, much colder in the winter, and much drier in the summer. Because of this, most Germans live in the western part of the country. That is where it's extremely industrialized. We have more temperate climates, we have the Rhine River, lots of great cities in Western Germany. That's the part that's most densely populated.
Thank you, Miss Heim. Now reporting in, Miss Used-to-be Soviet Union. Tell us about your location, Miss Used-to-be Soviet Union. Welcome to what very many people have called my country, Mother Russia. Please excuse my accent. In Russian, we have a very different alphabet and language with very different pronunciations of letters, so I may get English letters mixed up sometimes. English is very confusing language, no? Russia is the very largest country in all of the world. It spans not just one, but two continents, Europe and Asia. Russia's land is a diverse geography with mountains like Ural Mountains, plains like the European plains, rivers like the Volga River. We have many famous cities like Moscow, Petrograd. I, like most people, live in the European side of Russia. Our country's size, its diverse geography, makes us home to tons of natural resources like coal, oil, natural gas, uranium, copper, and more. We have a vast number of resources, but not many of them are accessible because of the extreme climate that can make trading more difficult. While we have some major cities, mostly found on the European side, even our river, like the Volga River, is frozen many parts of the year. The river is so frozen, it is not navigable year-round, so getting goods in and out of the country can be very difficult. The West has it a lot easier than the East, though. Not many people live in the Asian side of Russia. We call this side sleeping land, Siberia. Siberia means sleeping land. You may be wondering why it is called a sleeping land. Well, it's because so few people live there. The climate in Russia is very cold. We have a large population of over 144 million people, but very low population density because the people are so well spread out. While the country population density is low, most people live in the densely populated urban areas. Because we are very far away from the equator, our climate is cold. We have a subarctic climate in most of Russia. The land is covered in, what is that word again? Permafrost, especially on the Siberian side. But it is extra cold on the eastern side of Europe because of the rain shadow effect. The western side of Russia is a little less cold due to the North Atlantic current, if you catch my drift. No, I do not quite catch the drift. I've never heard of this North Atlantic current. Let's hear from Mr. Trippy for our weather and location report. Mr. Trippy, over to you.
Thank you, Miss Muffo. As you know, the equator runs through the middle of the Earth all the way around the center of the globe horizontally. You should know that most places around the globe that are close to the equator have a hot tropical climate, and places far from the equator have cold climates. This is generally true, but there are a few exceptions to this rule. For instance, the United Kingdom, where Miss London Fogg is reporting from, shares the same latitude with Russia and Canada. The United Kingdom is far from the equator like these other countries, and according to its location and distance from the equator, the climate also should be cold like Russia's.
Well, that is a mystery. How can this be?
Good question, Miss Malfoy. Let me tell you how this can be. Due to a scientific phenomenon called the Coriolis effect, warmer winds, water, and rains are brought up from the equator toward the poles. In this instance, a warm ocean water current called the North Atlantic Current brings warmer temperatures from the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean to the western coast of Europe, which includes the United Kingdom and the European plains. It comes from the Gulf of Mexico. The North Atlantic Current creates the North Atlantic Drift, which explains how, even though the UK is close to the high latitudes where the climates are cold, it has a more mild climate like we do right here in Georgia. Without this North Atlantic Current, the UK's resources would also be inaccessible, and trade would be difficult because it would have an extremely cold climate like Russia does too. If you catch my drift, haha. Back to you, Miss Malfoy.
So the northern countries in Europe have a less cold climate due to the rotation of the Earth and an ocean current? Wow! The world is a mystery. Thank you, Mr. Trippy, and all of our global interactions for another great episode of Where People Live and Trade Around the World.
Thank you and cheers!
Spasiba, Miss Malfoy.
Cheerio, mate.
Some lasting questions for you as you conclude your notes for today. Which countries have more in common with their geography, and which have more differences? Which country would be easy to access resources and trade? Why is that? Which European places are more densely populated? What influences the population density in a country? Which country would more people choose to live, and which would more people be inclined to want to visit? Thank you.